got power, Florabella stands tall. Every drip, every drop, watch the haters fall. Channel sharp as thorns, ain't taking no mess. Scroll through her feet, feel that queen's finesse. Vines tangle tight, but Flora breaks free. Roots so deep, can't mess with her tree. From the mud she rises, roses from the dirt. Every comment section she lays down hurt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. From the garden green to the concrete wall, Florabella, unstoppable nature's child. Leaves whisper secrets, she's the loudest shout. From the channel buzzing, she never backs out. Seed of strength, through season she grows. In the face of doubt, her spirit glows. Cameras ain't a limit, she branches out. Thorns in her crown, she wears it no doubt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless.
Florabella on my screen, her smile it shines so bright. She's a queen with every scene, in the morning or the night. Recipes and good vibes flow, every video a gem. Her confidence it grows and grows, we're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows, she's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Recipes and good vibes flow, every video a gem. Her confidence it grows and grows, we're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows, she's where we all belong. Every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows, she's where we all belong.
Okay, good morning. Good morning, YouTube. What's going on, everybody? Good morning, Lana Love. She says, make sure you guys click the like on the way in, which if you guys can get those likes up for me, I would appreciate it. Good morning, Bridget. I hope you're having a good Sunday. Over here, it's Snow Sunday. So that means later in the evening, we're supposed to get a whole nor'easter winter storm. So it's sort of like anticipation building up for that. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying yourselves as well, wherever you fall in the world, in the Americas. Okay. Hey, young Riaz. I live in your walls. Hello. Good morning. I live in your walls. That sounds very scary. But good morning. I hope you're doing good today. I have a show for you guys today about stalkers. Now, we're obviously going to do the usual body cam review and thing like that. We're looking at body cams. But we're going to also have the conversation as well about stalking, about what is going on in the mind of somebody who just can't leave somebody alone, right? The need to stalk, follow, know the every move of somebody, even just getting fixated, right? One person that we're going to listen to today is going to talk about fatal attraction syndrome, which is basically this like incessant need to know the movements, the day to day, to just be focused on what another person that you really don't know well enough, what they're up to on the day to day and all that, just becoming fixated on people. So we're going to do just one video in between body cam that's going to be touching on fatal attraction syndrome. But otherwise, we're going to be just sort of looking at a few different cases. Now, a lot of the times you guys will see that people will call the police, they'll try to press charges, they will seek out help in stalking situations, but unfortunately, they really can't do anything until the person crosses the line, they violate a boundary, like they try to break into your home or attack you or something. Like basically, they have to do something to you. Otherwise, them just following you everywhere, calling you, as long as they're on public property, they basically have the right to do that. So it's very scary. But we're going to look at some body cam footage today of those situations, and then we're going to hear from Dr. Grande about fatal attraction syndrome. Now, the first one that we have here is a man who literally pretends to be a police officer to get his ex in trouble. All right. Yeah, I'm glad you find that interesting. I love your walls. And you're really going to like the subject matter today because we're going to be talking all about that. But we're also going to see cases of when stalking crosses the line, right? When it becomes terroristic to the individual who is the subject of this unwanted attention. So this is a man who pretended to be a state trooper just to get his girlfriend in trouble. And then we'll see how it plays out.
Ordinary tale emerges as a woman's ex-boyfriend employs cunning tactics in pursuit of his desires. Law enforcement's riveting investigation leads to a dramatic confrontation, exposing the astonishing extent to which some will defy the law. In early March 2022, a female reported her ex-boyfriend was violating a restraining order that forbade him from making any contact with her in Tavernier, Florida. The ex-boyfriend was identified as a 36-year-old named Claude. The female victim stated Claude was served with a final judgment for protection against domestic violence in January 2022, prohibiting Claude from contacting her, either directly or indirectly. Since the restraining order was served, an investigation revealed that he had been disregarding it by making numerous calls, sending texts, and mailing USB devices containing messages to the female. Additionally, he was using a phone application that altered the display number, effectively concealing his true identity when making contact. But first, let's take a second to hear from today's sponsor, Core. Core Essentials specializes in crafting the most comfortable patented size fit cooler mark who said e-wallet. And video depicted him in office and submitted a collection of mails. Email Vic at coreessentials.com.
All right, sorry about that. We're not going to, unless Core wants to pay me, I have to skip through that. But as you can see, when you first block contact with somebody, they will immediately find other avenues to contact you. I've been emailed before. I've been called from other numbers, texted from other numbers. I've had to block like 30 numbers related to a person at one point. Like it can be very, very overwhelming. But they will basically bombard all these forms of communication. Once you've blocked them so many times, they just go and they find another tactic. So let's see how far he's going to go after this commercial. It's almost done. Kind of distracted from the point I was trying to make here, but let's keep going.
After some time, the female victim reached out to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and submitted a collection of mails, voice recordings, and videos that demonstrated Claude's continuous attempts to contact her.
Now, this is probably the smart. I believe that somebody who really understands the law enforcement, and when they'll get involved, gave her the advice to do this. Right, keep track of every attempted contact that they make to you. Right, sometimes people just want to shoo away these stalkers and just ignore them and delete all their messages. No, keep a good physical track of every phone number that they call and text you from, every piece of mail, every email. Keep track of it all, right? Because after a while, you're going to start to see how concentrated and heavy, all the attempted contact is. Now, obviously, say, I don't want to contact you. Please leave me alone. Make sure you vocalize that to the person. But as long as you do that even one time, that's enough for every other attempted contact to show and prove that this person is completely violating a boundary, that you don't want to be interacting with them. If they just do it a few times, you can't call the police and say you have a stalker. But if you have, for example, 50 messages in 1 hour from this person, now you have proof that this person just won't leave you alone. The more you can keep over time, let's say they call you 50 times in one day, every day for a month, now you have proof. For 1 month, this person has made me feel afraid to go anywhere by myself, to go out at night. They've made me afraid for the fact that they don't respect my boundaries, to leave me alone. I'm afraid one day they're going to approach me in real life, and when I tell them to leave me alone, they're not going to listen. That is the smartest thing that you can do as a victim of stalking, harassment, whatever it may be, is to keep a good record of how many times that person reaches out to you. Because it will sell itself, right? It will make its point after a while, even after just 2 days. Let's say somebody calls you 100 times in 2 days, right? That's way too much communication, especially when you've already let them know that you're not interested. Good morning, Beth. Good morning. I hope you're having a good day. We're getting right into this one, into stalking. This is a guy who actually goes so far as to call the state troopers or to call the police and say that he's a off-duty state trooper and he wants to report somebody driving drunk. All right, let's see if he actually is able to impact this woman's life in any way by making this false call.
These pieces of evidence depicted him trying to persuade the female to withdraw the restraining order against him. Notably, in one of the calls, Claude went to the extent of using a robot voice in an effort to conceal his identity. However, that didn't quite work. In late March 2022, the sheriff's office dispatch received a call on its non-emergency line from an individual claiming to be an off-duty New York State trooper who reported a possibly intoxicated driver driving recklessly.
Sheriff's office, this is Ashley.
I'm a state trooper from another state. I'm reporting a drunk driver driving northbound on overseas highway. Like, this person's very drunk.
Okay.
Like,
give me the description of the vehicle.
It's a white truck.
Do you know what type of truck, what make?
I'm trying to stay away, but this person's really drunk. It's a white Toyota.
And what are they doing? Just failure to maintain lane?
Yeah, they're swerving everywhere.
Okay. What's your last name?
Tony.
And your first name?
Zachary. Yeah, I'm still behind it, and they're swerving really bad. I'm not even kidding.
All right.
You got a cop over here?
There's somebody else dispatching that information out.
See, now this is crazy, right? Because this person is what they're trying to do is cause law enforcement to come and basically treat this woman like she's a crazy drunk driver, right? He's going to say, oh, she's swerving real bad. So the police would think there's some people in danger if they're on the same road as her. This is a very, very strange man, right? That he'll go this far. Empress Kia says, right on time, getting off work. Hey, Flo. Hey, Empress. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Sounds like a long shift, girl. Sounds like a long shift. We're talking about stalkers today. Now, this guy is reporting his girlfriend to law enforcement. For any of you who just walked in or just made it in time, please hit the like button for me. But he's basically reporting his ex-girlfriend as being a drunk driver, saying that he's behind her swerving. He did lie to the police and say that he is a off-duty state trooper from another state. So this guy is trying to go really far to impact this woman. He's trying to act like he can't see her vehicle. It's all basically a game, right? Because he knows where her car make and model is. He knows her license plate. But it's part of the act.
Okay. Yeah, she's wicked. I'm telling you right now, this person is wicked drunk. Oh my God.
While the alleged drunk driver was passing deputies on routine patrol, they noticed the reported vehicle being closely followed by a white vehicle, which then pulled over to the shoulder. Shortly afterward, Claude emerged from the driver's seat and dashed towards the deputy's patrol car. He made the claim that his ex-girlfriend was driving while intoxicated and promptly asked the deputies not to inform her about his call or conversation with them. Deputies soon conducted a traffic stop on Claude's ex-girlfriend and had her undergo standardized field sobriety tests.
I'll tell you about it.
The female victim voiced her suspicion that Claude was behind the traffic stop and harassing her. In the end, she showed no signs of impairment and was released.
Ma'am, you can put your foot down and go back to your truck. We'll get you out of here in just a second, okay? We had an off-duty law enforcement officer call you in. That's why we had stopped you, okay?
Yeah.
An off-duty law enforcement officer observed the violations, which is why we stopped to check on you. Okay, so I understand, I guess, a little bit if you're on your phone, but you have to understand maybe we thought you were impaired.
I totally get it.
And we really do appreciate your
I
cooperation.
get it. I totally get it.
She's fine.
You know, the officers and her were very, it went very smoothly. He was probably expecting her to be like so upset that she was even getting stopped. I don't know what he was expecting, right? But of course, he knew that he could impact her day, and that's why he did this. He called the police. Probably a very small neighborhood too, where like she's probably the only white truck driving right now. So very, very unfortunate. She did state, like you said in the video, that she knew it was him, but she kept a good, calm demeanor, and that's probably the best thing to do, right? Because you do sort of feed these weirdos when you show you're upset or you're outraged for what they're doing. You have to basically give them the least attention possible. These stalker people. So let's continue.
Do we have anything else, or can I release her? Yeah, she's good. She's.
Thereafter, a sergeant with the sheriff's office spoke with Claude by phone. Upon being asked what agency he worked for, he stated he had another call and hung up. Given the gravity of the incident, the sheriff's office conducted a thorough investigation. Detectives managed to trace the phone number used to make the fake DUI report, only to find that it belonged to a phone application designed to block the user's display number, ensuring anonymous calls. Despite this obstacle, the detectives persisted in their investigation. In due course, the detectives successfully acquired records from the phone application company, revealing the 911 call made from Claude's account with the company. Furthermore, they reached out to the New York State Police and confirmed that there was no trooper by the false name originally provided by Claude. Claude was then contacted again by the sheriff's office, where he provided several excuses for the audio recordings of him, such as the female victim stealing his therapy folder from his bedroom, which contained audio recordings of him. When asked if the original file would be on his computer, he said he had deleted it. They explained to him that the evidence does not support his claim, and that he may have gone too far trying to get the restraining order dropped. At the end of March 2022, a warrant was obtained for...
And you know the thing, so we're going to talk about Claude, okay? Because Claude is crazy. Claude has no shame. He didn't care how he was impacting this woman's life. He didn't care how the police might approach her if they believed she was driving drunk, okay? But the fact of the matter is, he thought he was very easily going to get away with this. He thought there was no consequences for lying on somebody like this. But when you make a 911 phone call, whether it goes to your direct phone or an app, it will eventually be traced to you. I don't know why people think that phones can be anonymous. Honestly, probably the only way to make it hard for a call to be traced to you is to have a freaking Android at this point, right? To be the 1, 2, or 3 people in a pile of 1,000 who has an Android, because otherwise there's a direct link to your phone. Every time your phone is using the signal anywhere, it's signaling to a cell phone tower. Where I am right now, there are cell phone towers, so my phone will ping to those. And because my phone pings to those, they will know, okay, she's at home. She's in the vicinity of her home. So the fact that he thought he can make this 911 call willy-nilly on the Text Now app and nobody will be able to trace it back to him, they will. Even when you're signing up for Text Now, you attach an email or something. That email is directly accessible to your phone via IP address. There's nothing you can do on your cell phone anonymously. Not in 2025. And even then, not unless you have an Android, because otherwise there is a digital footprint for everything that you do.
Claude's arrest due to him violating the restraining order, and he eventually turned himself in. During the subsequent interview, Claude evaded answering questions by asserting that he was the victim, claiming that his ex-girlfriend had abused him for years, and stating that he was fearful and dealing with PTSD. When the investigators played the 911 recording, in which he falsely portrayed himself as an off-duty state trooper, Claude denied making the call. Although he admitted knowing the person responsible for the call, he refused to disclose that information. He was shortly
And it's so funny, he said it wasn't me, and that was enough, right?
released on a surety bond. Following further investigation in late June 2022, another arrest warrant was issued for Claude, this time for the offense of impersonating a police officer. On July 11th, 2022, Claude reached out to the sheriff's office and arranged to meet at a designated location in order to turn himself in on the warrant.
The return says warrant for impersonating an official, and then also a possession order. Who's the one that put out the warrant? MCSO? Us?
Detective O'Neill.
I don't know what it's for or why, but that doesn't sound good. What's the warrant for?
Impersonating an official.
Okay, for what? What'd you do?
My cousin and I called the cops on her for following me, stalking me out.
No, you called. No, it wasn't your cousin and you, right? It wasn't your cousin and you. It was you. You straight up called the police and said that you saw somebody driving drunk. Okay, they traced it back to your phone because you wouldn't be honest when they called you back via that text now app that you thought was anonymous. When they called you back, you thought you could just hang up the phone and be done with it. That is not how it works. Not in 2025. In 2025, everything that you do has a digital footprint. And you send an email, there's an IP address that they can trace back directly to you. So, I don't know if he thought, now he's talking about, and let me get you out of here, plant-based. But for some reason, he thought that he was going to be able to now say, oh, it was me and my cousin, to try to share responsibility with somebody. No, you called the police. It was you on the phone. You said that you saw somebody drinking and driving falsely, right? So that you can get them in trouble. So no, you and your cousin didn't call. You called because you're weird and you just couldn't accept that she don't want you no more. Stalkers are scary. Like some stalkers, you could have never even dated them. You could have never even been with them. You might have just been their friend, maybe an acquaintance. Maybe you did them a favor. I mean, they did you a favor at some point. Somebody who's so insignificant can very easily become fixated on you. That's what's scary about these types of situations.
She was drunk, and they came and let her go drunk, and literally escorted her into her building.
So how does that fall into you impersonating an
Because
official?
my cousin called, my whole entire family's cops, right? Like literally everybody but me. My cousin was with me in the car on vacation. This is how it went down. I was driving, pull out of the Big Chill every day like clockwork. You can bet your ass she's going to know where I am. In fact, she tells O'Neill where I am, finds me at my job, and then tells him, and then he comes to talk to me. And I've been on my best behavior. I pull out, she cuts me off, and probably so drunk didn't even know it was me. Drives into the mangroves, and then back onto the highway, and she's an alcoholic.
Without crashing?
Dude, she is a complete alcoholic, but like without crashing, swerving, driving like off the side of the road. So my cousin's like, you call. Why would you?
Right. Now, these types will be the type that are just begging for attention for you to talk to them or whatever. But then when they get caught up based off of what they tried to do to you, look at him now. Oh, she's such an alcoholic. She's such a, she just can't control her liquor. She was just so drunk. She cut me off and ran off. Maybe she was cutting you off because she was scared. Maybe she didn't want you anywhere near her. So the only way she figured she can get away from you was to cut you off and fly in the other direction. Right, but right now to the police, he's trying to act like he was trying to save them from a drunk driver, and that just wasn't the case.
Not call. She's called the cops like 80 times because she's trying to steal your house. I said, you call. You're a cop.
Where does he work?
New York. He calls, didn't give his real name.
Okay.
Swear to God, he's 26 years old. And she says, well, that's just my ex calling. So I got arrested for that because O'Neill said that it was me on the phone.
Did it come from his phone or your phone?
It came from a different phone, but O'Neill has my phone calling his phone, calling, because we're connected in the phones, because he retrieved my phone records. So he has something, but he doesn't have proof that it's my voice. It's not.
So what are you saying is it was your phone, but without you actually being on the line?
Right. It's not, what am I going to do? I mean, it's not my voice, so.
Do you have a protection order in place?
Yeah, that's why. I have her on camera 15 times coming down my blog. I'll be at the food store and go inside, and then I'll come out and literally panically. Of course, my whole life is a TV show. I have a dash cam. My house is put up with cameras.
Smart.
And no matter how much stuff I show Judge Garcia, he just denies the motion.
You've already tried showing that she's the one that's contacting you or following you or with you. So that's the sucky thing about protection
She
orders.
actually came in my house and told me she was going to kill me on camera. I have the video, and then literally looked and smelled my bed sheets, went in my bathroom, went through my drawers, and left. The cops
I was gonna say
lied on police record, said that I came to her house.
You didn't show them that?
I did. I gave it to Judge Garcia. He said she wants to feel safe. I'm going to make her feel safe for 2 years.
No, I know, but what they do about that? Her entering your home. Were you guys still married at the time, or together, or living together?
She lived in a different apartment. She lied on record, and the cop even wrote it on the paper. Said she lied, and they didn't do anything about it. And now this guy's destroying my life, literally ruining my life. I'm a single dad. I have my kids by myself at home.
Is it kids in common or no?
No, oh God. She just wants money. She called me and asked for $80,000 and sent a phone call to Officer O'Neill and said that I had contacted her, and I still got arrested.
So they just confirmed your warrant. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take your hat off, take everything out of your pockets. Okay.
You're right.
Why did you turn yourself in on your birthday?
Because he was going to come to my house and make a spectacle in front of my family. I think this is her last shot. So she only has 10 more days to respond to the lawsuit, or she loses by default.
Yikes.
So it's there's a lot of money on the line, though.
Right.
A lot.
Ultimately, Claude was charged with felony counts of aggravated stalking, impersonating a law enforcement officer, unlawful use of a two-way communication device.
And you know what tickles my fancy, right? He was over there talking. He was like, "Oh yeah, she broke into my place." And then when the police came, I got in trouble. And she was like, "Why?" He was like, "Because technically they were saying I broke into her place." Okay, sir. Right. So obviously you were following her around. Obviously you broke into her place. Everybody isn't lying on you. Okay, you wouldn't get aggravated stalking without there being pretty good information about that. Also, impersonating a Leo, right? You're gonna call and say, "Oh, I'm a law officer, but I'm from a state. I have no jurisdiction here. Here's a drunk driver." You're wasting police resources to get off your little vengeance that you have against your girlfriend or your ex-girlfriend. And unlawful use of a two-way communication device. I don't know what that means, but they literally just tagged all the charges on here. Imagine getting a felony because you can't let a woman go. That's crazy. Couldn't be me, or man, whatever the gender that you prefer. All right, so let's go on to the next one. We're gonna watch one more. This next one is a stalker actually breaking into the woman's home, and then you guys will see the dialogue that he has about all of this. This is just a short 8-minute video. After this, we're going to actually look at what fatal attraction syndrome is. Now, Dr. Todd Grande does a lot of evaluations and not evaluations, but reviews and things of different crimes, and he specifically does stalking and things like that. So he's going to talk about fatal attraction syndrome. This is definitely a goofy Ian. So, all right, this one is a creepy guy. So just a trigger warning if you've ever been stalked. Some of the language and how crazy he sounds can be triggering for those of us who've been stalked. All right.
I really just wanted my best friend to talk to me. And now I'm sitting here with you with cuffs on and the back of a cruiser. My truck's been towed. Like, dude.
Who is this guy?
So I was best friends with him for 7 years, and then
Never
like
in a relationship?
never in a relationship, nothing else.
So it's just a friend.
And
Alright.
it was, but we haven't talked for years, and he kept showing up.
Is he welcome here though?
No.
Have you ever invited him here?
No, he was my best friend for 7. He's even met him before, and then he just like lost his shit. A
When was
friend 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in
About
2
that.
years.
Just kind of infatuated with her and.
Yeah.
You haven't seen him in 2 years?
But he keeps popping up. Like I stopped talking to him in 2 years. I got these.
Have you told him not to come around?
Yeah, plenty of times.
He was in this back patio.
Yes, he was in the back patio.
And he was trying to get through the.
Yeah. He looked through the window. This window was looking through all the windows, and I saw him there. I told to run because he kept on trying to have a conversation and trying to like pull the fucking door open.
Was he doing anything else to the door besides trying to pull it open?
Well, he was banging on the window.
He was banging on the window.
Yeah. To the point where I thought he was gonna break the glass, so I sent my daughter into the room and told her to lock the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you scared?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's an ex-Marine.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think would have happened if you would have gotten in it?
I don't know. I feel like honestly, he's become so obsessive and wants to talk to the point where I've done everything. He's like, fine, I'm just gonna go. So he leaves and runs and hops on in his truck and speeds off down the street.
How many times have you changed your phone number?
So apparently this interaction that's going on over here is him being addressed by law enforcement. Now it looks like at some point they're going to make that the bigger picture so we can see here. But you know what's crazy is this makes it very scary for women to even become friends with, interact. Like this is why a lot of us choose, and I'm not saying us trying to like group myself in as like a victim of stalking. I have been stalked before. Luckily I changed my number after having that number for 10 years, so I don't really get bothered the same way. But like having to tell somebody for 2 years that you don't want to talk to them anymore, that is so freaking scary. Like there's nothing scarier than having to tell someone over and over again, no, I don't want to talk to you. We're not friends anymore. It doesn't matter if somebody was friends with you for 7 years. If you cross a boundary and they decide that they're done with you, they're done with you, right? You don't get to make the decision for yourself of, hey, you told me we're going to be friends forever. Well, that was before you did that weird thing that made me block you, right? It's very cut and dry. I don't know why he's having a hard time understanding that. Thank you much. North Star says the audacity of these people. Oh, that's her house. It's really creepy. We're gonna see. He obviously hasn't been able to take a hint, but the fact that she went 2 years without getting the police involved, it's probably because most women understand, or most people victims of stalking understand that law enforcement does not get involved until your safety is in danger, right? And it's ironic that now she's calling, and it's because he broke into her home. Would they have came if he wasn't doing that before? If he was maybe just watching her or following her everywhere she went?
3 times.
3 times?
Yeah.
And it's all been because of him?
Yeah. The last time was July, so it was quiet. I just get messages and packages to my house. But I think the last time, he caught me in the middle of the road. But before then, last time it was 4th of July, he dropped me off a bottle of whiskey and some fireworks because he knows it's my favorite. And some fireworks because he knows it's my favorite.
Is there anything else you'd like to add to this?
Now that is creepy. thank goodness for doorbell camera footage. I think since those have been invented, they've become more of like a security feature for houses than even like a regular security system, because it's like criminals and weird people, they tend to come right to your door. Like that's exactly where they're at. So I don't know if these cameras are concealed, if they don't realize they're there, but it's like they capture all type of weird behavior. Now that little kiss he did to the door was creepy. I would have pepper sprayed him just for doing that.
Is there anything else you'd like to add to this?
I just want to stop.
You need to record this?
Huh?
No.
I have to alter the session.
Okay. You know, she said, I don't want to be friends anymore. You've pushed it too far, which I didn't think I'd asked that many times, but okay. I think she blocked my number, so I tried emailing her. And she blocked me on that, and then she blocked me on all social media. So, I mean, I've had no way to contact her except to show up. And here's the funny and confusing thing, that she's told me before that if I ever really just wanted to talk to her, then to just come talk to her. She's told me that in the past.
I don't want him over here. I want him gone.
Now, I don't care what somebody has told you in the past, right? If she's saying right now she don't want to talk to you, she don't want to be your friend, like you're done, there's no relationship to be had there, even if it's just friendship, whatever, it stands. You don't get to go back and say, well, you told me I could always come and talk to you. No, that was before you did whatever weird thing you did. And I wonder what it is that he did that caused her to not want to be around him in the first place. You know, because this is one victim who isn't even talking as much. She's just saying, look, he's doing this. I don't want him here. I want him gone.
I mean, like I said, man, I really wasn't trying to cause any trouble. I really just wanted my best friend to talk to me. And now I'm sitting here with you with cuffs on and the back of a cruiser. My truck's been towed. Like, dude, I was just trying to see if I could talk to her. And if not, I was going to go about my day, go about my life. That's it. That's all I was trying to do.
Baby, you should have went about your life when you got blocked. Okay? When somebody blocks you, it's because they don't want to talk to you. So why waste your time trying to continue to force it at that point? You guys weren't even in a relationship. You were just friends. If I block some random person who I don't want to be friends with anymore, they're not, like, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to go out of their way to call and text me from 100 different numbers. Like, this is not a normal thing to do when somebody lets you know non-verbally by blocking you that they don't want to deal with you. They don't want to talk to you.
I wasn't trying to create a problem, man. I was actually trying to solve one. At least
I got you. Do you have any scars, marks, or tattoos?
Yeah, I've got a Marine Corps emblem tattoo on my left chest.
Now, status-wise, are you single, married, divorced?
Single.
Single. Okay.
I was trying to get married.
Okay, gotcha.
I guess it's good I can crack jokes.
Hey, listen, you just got to roll with the punches, man.
You're not going to get married by stalking people, right? By trying to force yourself on a person, that's not going to help you get married, all right? So I know you thought that was a cute little joke, but that was actually really weird.
But religion?
I don't know, Jedi?
Okay. Can I put that?
Sure, why not? I feel like I'm just wasting y'all's time too. You could be out doing something way more important than this BS drama.
Gotcha.
I'm so done with her. I tried just wanted to love her. That's all I wanted. I got a question for you, just because realm of possibility sort of thing. Let's say she rescinds the order. How would I have proof of that?
I don't know how any of those orders work.
Okay.
Well, sir, I'm going to tell you that you don't have to worry about that, right? She's likely not going to rescind the order. She's afraid of you. It's been 2 years that you haven't stopped trying to contact her, and she was only your friend. Now you're in this video talking about you just wanted to love her. That is terrifying. You're terrifying. Do you know that, sir? I don't know if he knows that he's scary as heck. But the officer being nonchalant, the officer should have told him, hey, no, listen, you need to leave her alone. She's not going to drop the order, okay? She don't want nothing to do with you. Leave her alone. That's what they should be telling him, not, oh, I feel you trying to get married. Well, you're not going to get married by stalking nobody.
I was just wondering. Because, not that I'm expecting her to, but just in case she, I don't know. Even if she does, after all this, man, I don't think I got it in me to forgive her. Or to even, I think, honestly, at this point, it's just best to just...
You want some real advice?
Move on with my life? Yeah.
Away from it, man.
Yeah, man.
Where you are right now.
Yeah. Look where it got me.
No, don't. Just let it go. I know it hurts, but let it go.
Dude, I know.
You don't want to be back here.
No. Why didn't I just go home? Why did I have to try and talk to her? Why? Why? God damn it. Hell, I would have just, if she just would have talked to me and at least explained to me why she's done with me.
You know, the scary part is that Lana, that's what I was just going to say that. Like, he's sitting there in his head like, I don't know if I can forgive her for this. Like, forgive her for what? For what? For not wanting to be your friend anymore? Like, you are weird as hell. Like, weird. This is extremely weird. Thank you, Tam Casey. She said, welcome to Flora's channel. Hit the like button for her. Yes, please do. Such a great actor like they always are. Oh, yeah. These type of stalkers are the most theatric people. They will very easily try to spin themselves into a victim. Poor baby. Yeah. He's literally sitting here, like, after we watched him going there and kissing the door. Mind you, she was only your friend. She was never your woman at any point at all. And you're trying to force yourself on her? Like, it's weird as hell. He's a victim of maybe not taking medication or not being hospitalized. Yeah, it's something with not being able to accept the rejection. It's like he feels like, no, you can't reject me. Just weird. And talking to himself in the back of this cruiser, that officer is not listening to none of the BS that he's saying. That officer is literally thinking like, man, this guy is crazy. I don't want him anywhere near none of my kids.
I could have at least gotten that. Like, no explanation, dude. No nothing. Just poof. I thought, you know, maybe she wants to see me make that extra effort and show my...
There's no extra effort. Okay? Outside, like, you're being arrested for stalking right now. That was not her wanting you. Wrong. No extra effort. She don't want you. You're wrong. Wrong. She don't want you. The fact that he's even rationalizing other reasons why, like, things aren't working out. She didn't want you. Will she block you? There's no extra effort. No. The extra effort is you turning around and walking the hell out of her life, out of her face. Talking about, I think she wanted some extra effort. You guys were never even in a relationship to begin with.
Face and actually be there, you know? Idiot. I am such a fucking idiot. Never think with your heart. Never think with your heart. Never ever think with your fucking heart. Never think with your heart, Tom, you fucking idiot. God, I'm so stupid.
Now, you ain't wrong, Tom, right? You are very stupid. That was extremely scary, by the way. Very unhinged. Yeah, no means no. Beth, that's the sad part. Because, and let's watch that little breakdown for a second, because he's talking to himself.
Be there, you know? Idiot. I am such a fucking idiot. Never think with your heart. Never think with your heart. Never ever think with your fucking heart. Never think with your heart, Tom, you fucking idiot. God, I'm so stupid. I'm supposed to go without her the rest of my life.
This is some Lifetime movie shit. He said, "How am I supposed to?" Oh no!
Idiot! God, I'm so stupid. I'm supposed to go without her the rest of my life.
Oh no! No! This man needs to be. This man needs to be hospitalized. I'm afraid for that woman, whoever she is. Listen, I'm sending my solidarity to you. It may seem like I'm being light about this, but no, this is scary as hell. This is scary as hell. He goes from being mad, not knowing if he's gonna forgive her, and then talking about how am I gonna live without her? Like, this is literally something out of a movie, out of a horror movie. Out of a horror movie, like very scary. All right, like what the hell? Yeah, he's definitely not well. Definitely not well. Just like Hope for Humanity. He said he put me out in time, put me in timeout, Bella. I put you in timeout because you were sounding like Tom the Simp. Six Semper says simping ain't pimping, Tom. This is scary. That's all I'm gonna say. This is extremely. I can only imagine what this woman feels like. People seeing this, but at least she can. You know, she's probably thinking like, I'm glad somebody else can see what I've been dealing with because this is creepy. Like if we didn't see this, I would never believe that a man would be in the back of a police cruiser talking about, I'm never gonna see her again. I hate her. I can't forgive her. Like this is creepy. These type of people should be forced to be medicated. He needs to be medicated. This is crazy. Have you noticed this guy has no facial expressions that go along with his emotions? Yeah, they don't match. His face is all like it's all over the place. His whole demeanor is psychotic.
I love you so much. Why won't you fucking talk to me? Just want to be my friend. Just keep it away from me. Hey, you know what? I was looking for a sign. I guess I got it. Idiot. I could be at home playing Xbox right now, or watching Star Trek, or cleaning up my house, or doing that load of dishes that needs to be done, or finishing up the laundry, or never again. Never, ever again. It's not an officer's got to see me ball my son of a bitch.
Okay, so yes, that man is obviously unwell. Okay, but what we're going to talk about today, to give us sort of a better understanding about this, is fatal attraction syndrome. Okay, this is one of the main things that comes to people's mind when they start thinking about these individuals that will go so far that they'll do whatever it is that they need to do to get the attention of this person. Is he kidding? I don't think he is. What mental illness is this? Let's see. Dr. Grande is going to talk about fatal attraction syndrome. Okay, I don't believe that it's in the DSM, but it is a borderline personality disorder. It's in that category. But let's hear it from Dr. Romney. Let's hear it from Dr. Todd Grande. Right? I'm not the expert here.
Informed insider look at mental health topics. If you find this video to be interesting or helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel. So this is Dr. Grande. Today's question asks, what is borderline stalking? So I've seen this question a few times in kind of related questions. Another related question here would be, what is fatal attraction syndrome? Which of course isn't a real syndrome. It's just a term people use sometimes to really refer to the stalking behavior that we sometimes see with borderline personality disorder. The reason we see the term fatal attraction in there is because of a 1987 movie by the same name with Michael Douglas and Glenn Close. So this movie portrayed behavior that could be attributed to borderline personality disorder. And we've seen other movies that kind of followed the same pattern. So really what this question is getting at is, what is the relationship between borderline personality disorder and stalking? And I think when we think of borderline personality disorder, people think of the frantic efforts to avoid abandonment and kind of connect that to stalking. So first I'll start with the definition of stalking.
So that's a good way to describe it in layman's terms for people who don't really understand it, right? A good way to what was the thing we just used?
And I think when we think of borderline personality disorder, people think of the frantic efforts to avoid abandonment.
Frantic efforts to avoid abandonment, right? Usually people who are on the stalking spectrum, I would say, right, there is this fear of abandonment, right? There's this like, hey, you told me you were never going to leave. Their whole fear is of the person leaving, being away, all of that, right? It's sort of how the fixation begins.
Kind of connect that to stalking. So first I'll start with the definition of stalking. With stalking, we see an offender who exhibits chronic nuisance behaviors that result in deleterious emotional or physical effects on a victim. And it's believed to come from an illogical or irrational fascination or preoccupation with an individual, and sometimes it can rise to the level of psychosis. So there can be reality testing problems involved with stalking. Now, sometimes in the research literature, we see another term used instead of stalking called unwanted pursuit behavior. And this is similar. There's a lot of overlap with stalking, but usually unwanted pursuit behavior is thought of as more widespread and less severe as compared to stalking. Also, stalking does not necessarily result from an intimacy motive, and it's always illegal. Unwanted pursuit behavior doesn't necessarily cause fear or threaten the victim, and it's not.
And I can see why they would make it unwanted pursuit more general, right? Because even if somebody is like watching you because they're trying to steal your ideas, maybe they're trying to steal your business model, maybe they want to poach your employees, right? So they do make it more widespread, I guess, to cover the range of victims of these type of people. Empress Kia said the crash out is so real. It definitely is a crash out on behalf of the person, right? Because they're just so hyper focused and fixated on whatever their subject is, whether it's a woman, a coworker, male coworker, a child, somebody they look up to. It can be very, very it can be a wide range of reasons that they look up to. It's not just, I think they wanted to take it away from relationships, because people who don't want to be with you intimately can very well also be your stalker too. It's dangerous to view everything as a mental illness. Stalkers are just entitled. I don't think that they're even calling it necessarily a mental illness, but they're talking about the personality traits of somebody who would become a stalker. I think that's sort of where it comes, what it really comes down to, right? Somebody with borderline traits doesn't necessarily have to have borderline personality disorder. Yes, hit the like button for me. Sounds like when I heard a month ago, you all helped her get away. Exactly, Owen Supreme.
Always illegal. One way we could think about unwanted pursuit behavior and its relationship to stalking could be unwanted pursuit behavior, again, like I said, isn't necessarily illegal, but if it occurs for too long a period of time, it could rise to the level of stalking. So one tactic, as they're called, with unwanted pursuit behavior may not be illegal, may not even be abnormal, but if it continues for a while, then we might have stalking. So we see in the media that the stereotype of a stalker involves a stranger who stalks.
Now, personality disorder needs to be diagnosed, right? So somebody who has borderline personality traits isn't necessarily automatically somebody suffering from borderline personality disorder. So it gets very tricky, right? Also, a lot of people aren't diagnosed, but the way they behave will fall under these traits, and so people will just call them that. So I really think it depends on if somebody has a diagnosis, but people having borderline personality traits or exhibiting some of those personality traits doesn't necessarily mean that they're mentally ill. So I can totally understand what the person was trying to say when they said they don't want stalkers to automatically be described as mentally ill, because it's really not fair.
A celebrity. But what we see in reality is relational stalking, not stranger stalking, is the most prototypical form of stalking behavior. 80% of all stalking cases involve victims and perpetrators who had some type of prior relationship, and half of all.
And this is why, like, seriously, and this is to every gender, right? Both genders. This is why I say, if you don't want to be in contact with somebody, it's okay to not be their friend. You shouldn't do anything so that you don't make somebody upset or for fear of them becoming fixated on you. Just don't even initiate. Don't allow any personal contact whatsoever. Don't feel like you got to give them your phone number. If you need to get a text now app that will ring your phone, then do that. But don't give anybody your phone number. That way, if you need to get rid of that phone number, you just delete the Text Now app as soon as you get away from them. Right? Change the number. If you're so gung-ho on feeling like, okay, I got to give them some number that they can call in the moment so that at least they'll leave me alone in the moment. Okay, but at the end of the day, don't give them anything that can permanently and directly be related to you. And you shouldn't feel like you have to, because it can become very dangerous. You can have a minor interaction with somebody. You can even just say hello, right? You can exchange an email, one email, and it can easily turn into something else. Yeah, young Riaz, and trust me, I don't think that the times that somebody's being stalked or is dealing with certain traits that it's somebody being mistaken. Now, I do think that there needs to be some awareness when it comes to like people's observations of behavior and things. Like, we need to have some awareness for people who are on the spectrum and things like that, so make sure we're not misinterpreting. But 9 times out of 10, when somebody's being stalked, trust me, it's not them mislabeling somebody who has who's on the spectrum or anything like that. It's usually somebody who's very capable and aware of understanding that the person doesn't want contact with them. The last video we saw, she blocked his phone number. He decided to email her and start contacting her from other, from other avenues. So I totally get what you're saying, but yeah. I feel like it's peer pressure, but it can also turn very dangerous just giving your phone number. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If you want to give somebody, what do you call it? A Text Now number, go ahead, right? You can set up Text Now to ring your phone like it's an actual phone. But as soon as you leave, delete the app. You don't have to be in contact or become friends with somebody for fear of them becoming your stalker. You don't have to do that.
All stalking scenarios, we see the individuals had a prior romantic relationship. Now, some of the descriptive statistics around stalking are really ranges rather than precise numbers, because we see a lot of different studies on this topic and a lot of variation in terms of the results. For example, around 8 to 25% of women will be a victim of stalking at some point in their lives, and about 2 to 11% of men will be victims at some point in their lives. Now, with unwanted pursuit behavior, we see that 37% of ex-partners exhibit at least one of these tactics after a failed relationship. So unwanted pursuit behavior is remarkably common compared to stalking. Also, we see a number of benign tactics associated with unwanted pursuit behavior, like watching or monitoring or making exaggerated expressions of affection. With stalking, we see behaviors that are often considered more serious, as I indicated before. And if we look at the behaviors in terms of which ones are most common to which ones are least common, with stalking, we see unwanted telephone calls and messages are the most common. And then moving down the list, we see unwanted letters, someone who spreads rumors about an ex-partner. We see someone who is being followed or spied on. We see a victim being unexpectedly confronted by a perpetrator or being waited for. And then the least common would be to receive unwanted presence. So what does all this have to do with borderline personality disorder? I cover a lot of the aspects of stalking and unwanted pursuit behavior. Well, if we look at borderline personality disorder, we know it is a mental disorder in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, specifically a cluster B personality disorder. So it's a personality disorder in the same group as antisocial, narcissistic, and histrionic personality disorders. With borderline personality disorder, we see 9 symptom criteria. Somebody would have to have 5 criteria in order to be diagnosed with a disorder. So we see frantic efforts to avoid abandonment, an unstable relationship pattern, identity disturbance, so difficulty with self-image, impulsivity in at least 2 areas that would be self-damaging, suicidal behavior, affective instability, which is emotional dysregulation when somebody has.
So again, you can't just name any old person a stalker, right? They do have to, or specifically a borderline personality, they have to meet a criteria, right? They have to meet a criteria. They have to have at least 5 of those. Now we heard self-deletionality. That's the only way for me to say it without using the word. What do you call it? A fear of abandonment. There was a few other ones, but you have to meet at least 5 of the criteria. You can't just become a borderline personality. For example, let's say if you are doing one unwanted contact with somebody, there are particular traits that you have to meet to even meet the mental health diagnosis level. I'm sorry, Empress. You know, that's why I try to give people a trigger warning when we do have these conversations, because it can be very interesting to learn about, but it can also be triggering, right? Some people might not even understand what happened to them, but when you start to break down what they went, what stalking is and what borderline personality stalking is, it becomes familiar. So, my apologies. I should have had another trigger warning here. There's always nuances. Yeah, you spelled nuances incorrect. It's Nuance, but I definitely get what you mean. There's certainly nuances, but when it comes to stalking, it tends to be fairly cut and dry, right? The person doesn't want contact with the person, and the other person keeps initiating contact. So let's continue it looks like he's talking about unwanted pursuit behaviors.
Difficulty kind of keeping their emotions in check. We see chronic feelings of emptiness, inappropriate or intense anger or difficulty controlling anger. And we also see paranoid ideation or severe dissociation. So as you can see, some of those symptom criteria seem to line up with the behaviors of stalking and unwanted pursuit behavior fairly well. The frantic efforts to avoid abandonment, the anger, the impulsivity, the emotional dysregulation, the unstable relationship pattern, and maybe even in some instances, the paranoid ideation and the chronic feelings.
Now, why did you make me bust out laughing, Pepe the Chocolate, right? FAS, Fatal Attraction Syndrome, is not fetal alcohol syndrome. They're 2 very different things, right? Fatal Attraction Syndrome is when somebody becomes fixated on a personality or a person in general, right? An individual. Fetal alcohol syndrome is when somebody who is pregnant indulges in more than the recommended, right? The recommended is 0, but they indulge in an overabundance of alcohol consumption while they're pregnant. And so that causes birth defects in their child. So I don't know why this made me burst out laughing, because it's definitely not the FAS that we're talking about right now. But let's continue.
Of emptiness, because chronic feelings of emptiness might be related to rumination, and that's tied to stalking behavior. So one way to examine the relationship between borderline personality disorder and stalking would be to look at a group of people who have admitted to stalking or who have been convicted of stalking, and seeing how many of those have borderline personality disorder. The difficulty with this is we don't have a lot of research in this area, although we do see some studies that cover this. And really this can be broken down into 2 different groups. So with one of these groups, we see that for people who demonstrate stalking behavior that have not been charged with a crime. So these are people who admit to it, but again, there's no criminal justice involvement. We see that borderline personality disorder may be present up to 45% of the time. So in 45% of those people, they may have the disorder. Now, for people in the criminal justice system, the prevalence drops to somewhere between 4 and 15%. So fewer people in the criminal justice system for stalking would have borderline personality disorder. Now, this seems kind of unusual. There's no real quick or easy explanation for this. But one theory is that perhaps in those settings, in criminal settings, there are other explanations for a number of those stalking behaviors, including other mental disorders like schizophrenia. So we don't really know. So this gives us a range all the way from 4% as I mentioned, up to 45%. Now, to make this a little bit more confusing, as we move away from examining criminal and non-criminal, we see other studies that show that with stalking behavior, about 50% of the individuals who demonstrate that behavior would have a cluster B personality disorder. Now, that may be borderline personality disorder, but it may not be, because again, there are 3 other personality disorders in cluster B. But we do know from this research that even in instances where there was another...
For most disorders, right, outside of the ones that can be diagnosed in childhood, like ADHD and things like that, most of these disorders aren't going to be, they're not going to be evaluated the same way in a child, right? A child or even a teenager, 9 times out of 10, isn't going to get a stalking diagnosis, right? A lot of the times, these type of diagnoses are reserved for adults, because there is some evidence behind the fact that an adolescent or even just a very young person, like there's an emotional chemical imbalance from puberty and things like that would cause some irrational behavior. So, a lot of the times abandonment can lead to an adult that has like anxious attachment, an anxious attachment style of relationships, right? Because the first 5 years of your life are very, very important. Actually, the first 3, right? Because in those first 3 years, you either gain a healthy attachment or you have an unhealthy attachment. And if you have an anxious attachment, meaning you're always in fear of abandonment and things like that, then yes, as you become an adult, that will be your relationship style. So it's not necessarily that there's like a direct line from childhood to adulthood that will show somebody with an anxious attachment style or whatever, like this fear of abandonment. But there are things that, if you were a child who, you developed an anxious attachment, meaning like you had some disturbances in attachment to your family member, your parent or whatever while you were that young age, then you could see, right, that could be a factor that would contribute to adulthood fear of abandonment behaviors like an anxious attachment style, a relational attachment style that is anxious. So Pippi the Jonker says, also EWU finally released the body cam footage interrogation from the STEM school Highlands Ranch incident in 2019. That case is wild. I'll have to look into it. As you guys know, I've been doing little blurps of videos that are like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours long, where I just do true crime cases. They get like much less views, but I still want to do those so that my channel kind of keeps up that true crime basis. I love doing the body cam, but having an element where we focus deeply on cases is also important to me. Because when I first came on here, there was some cases, like some body cam cases, that I got, insider info from people. Now, the guy never did respond to me after the new year, but I wasn't able to fit it in between that new year time, and I was just so disappointed. I was like, I feel like my audience was already waiting for me to do the whole background. So I'm going to be doing some more. So thank you for sharing that. I'm going to look into that. STEM School Highlands Ranch. I'm gonna look into that and see if I can find some more information and do like a deeper dive into it. So let's continue. He's gonna talk about borderline personality as a cluster B personality disorder. But that's not, again, we're not trying to say in this video that people with personality disorders are the ones who are engaging in stalking behaviors.
Personality disorder other than the borderline personality disorder present. The borderline personality traits are often at a high level. So what this means is that everything is really on a continuum. So there are 9 symptom criteria for borderline personality disorder, but somebody could meet a few of those criteria and not have the disorder, but they may still have borderline personality traits or characteristics. So this kind of gives us a measure on a continuum as opposed to categorical. And it can give us more insight into stalking behavior and what may be connected to it. So borderline personality as a construct does seem to have a fairly strong relationship to stalking. Now, some people really struggle with the idea that individuals with borderline personality disorder might be more likely to engage in stalking behavior. And I think one of these reasons is because a lot of people think of stalkers as being primarily men. Now, we do know in about 75% of the cases of stalking the scenario breaks down where the man is the perpetrator and there's a woman who's a victim. So this explains, again, the majority of cases, but that leaves a lot of other room for other types of scenarios, including scenarios where the female could be the stalker. Now, when we look to specifically unwanted pursuit behavior, which again is related, but it's not the same thing as stalking, we see that research indicates that men and women perpetrate an equal number of tactics over a similar time span. Now, the methods are a little bit different. So men stalk in a different way as opposed to women. We see men are more likely to leave unwanted gifts and messages of affection, and women are more likely to be physically violent toward their ex-partner. So the number of tactics are the same.
Oh, wow.
Again,
that's really interesting. And, I guess a lot of it has to do with the fact that the male stalker, right, they're trying to pull that person in, right? Maybe they're trying to seek a relationship, where maybe the female stalker is more so trying to get vengeance. It really, I think a lot of it probably depends. If I were to just come up with a theory, right, because there's probably no factual evidence behind that, but I do think if a woman's doing it, there's probably like a vengeance, like I'm trying to accomplish something and that's why I'm stalking you, or like I'm trying to make you jealous, or maybe I'm trying to keep up with who you're dating now. And so that could be why it's different, where the male is trying to like, oh, I want you to feel special, or I'm trying to like appease to you, and so that's why I gotta buy you these gifts and things. So it kind of falls into the gender roles, how they act. Now the violence aspect is a little scary, right? Like the fact that a woman's stalker is more likely to get violent, very creepy. Technically, the lady that deleted Andy Warhol was a stalker. Look into that I know about. That was definitely a stalker. But I think that's why people look into these sort of these different syndromes that can explain the fixation that people get on others. The culture at the moment is toxic, love friends, etc. It's brewing for years now. I agree with that. I'll definitely say that dating started getting weird when maybe 10 years ago people started trying to shift the belief about who should be doing the pursuit and things like that. I think at that point when we started trying to have different conversations about that, that's when dating got weird.
Expression is a little different. The type of tactics are a little bit different. Another way to look at the relationship between borderline and stalking would be to look at the risk factors and see if any of them seem to be tied to borderline personality disorder. Well, there are a number of risk factors for stalking and for unwanted pursuit behavior, including the initiation of a breakup by the perpetrator's ex-partner. We see more anxious attachment in the former relationship. So when a relationship seems to be kind of at the beginning of stalking, when it came from a failed relationship, we see that anxious attachment. And that's interesting if we think about borderline personality disorder, because it does have an association with anxious attachment. We believe what happens here is the rejection elicits more obsessive thoughts about the ex-partner. And again, that's fairly consistent with borderline personality disorder with a few of the aspects, but that would include, as I mentioned before, the chronic feeling of emptiness. We also see that ex-intimate stalkers often have a history of criminal convictions and mental health problems, including higher levels of borderline personality traits, as I mentioned before. Some factors, though, when we talk about different personality factors and things like that, some of these factors have no explanatory value at all, meaning they don't appear to have any relationship with stalking. For example, avoidant attachment has no association with stalking. Empathy in the past relationship has no association. So a lot of people would think that low empathy would result in more stalking, but it doesn't. And we also see that psychopathic and narcissistic traits have no association to stalking, which I think is fairly surprising when we think about all the characteristics of psychopathy and narcissism. So what are the typical characteristics of a female stalker? So when there is a female stalker, whether she has borderline personality disorder or borderline personality traits or something else or nothing else, what characteristics might we expect to see? What would be typical? Well, we see a study here of 82 women who were involved in stalking, and we get kind of a profile from this study. It's pretty interesting. I'll put all the references for the studies I used in the description for the video. So here we see the typical characteristics would be Caucasian, heterosexual, having an age range between 18 and 58 with an average of 35, not having children and being well educated. With this particular group of 82 women I'm talking about half had borderline personality disorder, and a third used substances while stalking. So there may be some comorbidity there with substance use disorder.
Well, that's very interesting. All right, so I'm going to leave that there, okay? I don't want to get too psychological with this one, but we're going to look at the next one, the next video of stalking. Because I really just wanted to give you guys a little insert of what stalking is, what it looks like. And I wanted to give you guys that information so that you can pay attention as we watch these different stalkers who come in contact with law enforcement, right? They're in contact with law enforcement because they are violating the boundaries of somebody they used to know, whether it's an ex. A lot of the ones that we're seeing today are exes. Maybe they're people who are friends or somebody that that person used to know. It doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship. Beth says, I love this research. Me too, honestly. I can do it all day. I want to make sure I keep the video nice and fresh so that we can understand the subject matter, but also so that we have information about these types of people and who they are, right? So this next one, a stalker gets arrested.
I would never contact you again. I destroyed the device. Please, this one time, let me go.
Stalkers can be incredibly scary, creepy, and even dangerous. But what happens when these weirdos are caught? Here are 3 times that happened, starting with a man named Ramesh, who on September 7th, 2021, had been found following this woman who decided to call the police. Officers responded to the call and addressed the woman and found out something really terrifying.
Go. Because he was sending me harassing emails, voicemails, calls, texts, and I wanted to stop. He wouldn't stop. That was in Gwinnett County. Filed police report, told him about it, and it stopped for a long time. Recently, more recently, maybe fast forward a year, 2 years, he reaches out to me again. He says, I'm sorry for everything, and we talk as friends, and everything's okay. All of a sudden today, I'm getting emails like, where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? He was looking for me for 2 days, and like calling different places, trying to find out where I was. He looking in parking lots for my car, thinking places where he thinks I'd be, and he finds my car. And I guess today is when he put a GPS tracker on my car.
He put a GPS on it.
That's what he told me. He said it's on the left side tires. I don't know which tire it's under, but he said it's like a magnetic device that's stuck under my car.
He said he put it in the wheel well?
I don't know.
Now I'm just kind of...
Yes, please. If you can take it off, I would really appreciate that.
The woman says it's a friend she knows, but this friend has crossed the limits of friendship by placing a GPS tracker on her car. One of the officers then decides to meet the guy who's waiting for her at the gas station.
Hey, how are you? Good. My name's Officer Wyndham with the Johnson Police Department. I don't know... What's going on today?
Okay, so the first time I came to this, I just thought she might be with someone, so I thought to see where she was. That's all I did. I didn't do anything else. I never had any criminal history.
Okay.
Like that. I just wanted to see where she was and wanted to meet her.
What's your relation together?
We hang out for 2 years.
You guys are like friends?
Yeah, kind of like friends.
Okay.
Not girlfriend, but so that's what I did, and I said I would never contact you again. I destroyed the device. Please, this one time, let me go because I'm a student. So this is the one time.
So what you said? You said you thought she was with someone tonight?
Yes, she said she went to the hotel. So I thought she might be with someone. So I just wanted to see who it was.
Okay.
So that's why I put the tracking device. Other than that, I didn't do anything else.
So you actually put a tracking device on her car? Yes. Okay. Where is it at?
Under the car.
Under the car? Yes. Is it on the driver's side, passenger side?
Like on that side wheel.
On this side?
Yes. Under this.
Under the wheel right here?
Not under the wheel, but like in front of the wheel, but on the metal surface.
On the metal? Okay.
Yeah, I will destroy it and I will go and I won't do anything.
You have your ID with you?
Yes.
Can I get that from you?
This is the only chance I need. I'm really sorry.
Okay.
I understand. It's just a relationship thing. That's it.
Were you guys a thing? Like, were you guys a couple?
Like a thing, like not like officially, but.
Now, okay, for the honesty, right? But this is extremely disturbing, right? I wouldn't, Lana, Empress, I have the same reaction, right? This is terrifying. And he's just saying, oh, I'll destroy it, I'll leave her alone. I don't know, right? He could very easily have he could have 4 devices on there. There's no way to know. You know, but the fact that he just so blatantly admitted, hey, I told her I would leave her alone, but I just came here to see who she was with because she said she was at a hotel. Like, he sounds crazy. He sounds very entitled to her. right? But I guess because he didn't want to get in trouble. This is scary. Seems like he wants her all to himself. Yeah, exactly. He seems fixated on her, right? The fact that he's going to see who she's with, what she's doing. She's not even your girlfriend. Why do you care what she's doing?
We were kind of like hanging out and went to like we're going out places and stuff. So we were kind of thinking of that.
Okay.
I was working that, trying to work out.
You're trying to work that. Okay.
Yeah.
Ramesh immediately admitted to his crime and pleads with the officer to let him go and declares it's a relationship thing, which is not quite what the woman said. Needless to say, this is disgusting behavior, and things like this can easily escalate into a tragedy.
He's calling me. Should I answer?
Don't answer that. 40's clear. Are you still out with him right now? He's attempting to call over here.
Hey, Ramesh, for the time being, just hang up the phone. Don't try and call it for a second, okay? Just let us sort this stuff out, all right?
The sheer possessiveness and entitlement that this man thinks he has over women is absolutely disgusting and creepy, and the fact that he's calling her while talking to the police just goes to show how out of his mind.
Not only is he out of his mind, but he has a blatant disregard for authority, right? You're in front of an authority figure who's telling you you've crossed the line, that this woman is reporting you for stalking her, and you're going to go ahead and call her while you're in front of the officer. Like, obviously, law enforcement doesn't bother you. You're not worried about it. Like, that's extremely scary. She should get a lifetime TPO against, not TPO. She should get a lifetime protection order against this guy just from his behavior in this video.
He actually is. While Officer Sutton talks to our stalker, another officer tries to find the GPS tracker Ramesh has placed beneath the car.
To like a car place?
Well,
Put it up on wheels?
if he was able to put it in there, I should be able to get it out. Maybe, but I don't see it. Driver's rear wheel well is where he placed the tracker.
So that you put the tracker on this side of the car?
Yes, on this side.
By this wheel?
Yes, on this side.
On the under?
Yeah.
On the metal?
Metal, yeah.
Yay, firm. He says the rear driver's side wheel, and it's going to be on the metal, like undercarriage, like on the bottom of the car, but close to the wheel. How big is it?
It's like a magnet, small, black,
like
black color. Yeah, this color.
Like a size of a quarter?
No, more than like this size, this size.
Like a watch?
Yeah, watch this size.
All right. Okay, so she was staying at a hotel in Peachtree Corners.
Yes. So I went.
When did you? When did you put that on there?
Last time we went to the hotel, I don't remember the date exactly. It's on like September 1st. September 1st.
September 1st?
Yeah.
I found it.
You found it?
Yep.
Oh my god!
Yep.
You can't get it?
No, I can't. I'm going to take a picture of it.
How did she do that?
Foolish of Ramesh to think telling the truth would set him free. Unfortunately for him, the woman decided to press charges against him for stalking.
Come over here for me, okay? All right. At this time, you're under arrest for unlawful surveillance, okay?
When will I get it?
You got something? You want to keep talking, that's fine. You got something you need to write, okay?
Let me take a picture. Oh.
All right, so
Yes.
You're saying you want to press charges.
Yes.
So what I'm going to need from you is if I give you a piece of paper, could you write down everything that happened? Just kind of sticking with the most recent events.
All right, Ramesh, we're gonna step back to the front of my car, okay? Because now you're in handcuffs and you're under arrest. I'm gonna search you, okay? Do you have any weapons on you? Nothing? Anything in your pockets?
Probably keychain and stuff, maybe. That's it.
Ramesh was finally charged with unlawful surveillance felony and a stalking misdemeanor charge, and he spent a week in jail before being released on a $11,000 surety bond. But if you thought that was bizarre, that's because you don't know Torek Inderberg, who stupidly decided to tailgate an unmarked cop car. On November 25, 2019, an LA Cross police officer driving home in his unmarked car noticed a vehicle behind him that was following him closely. Concerned about the driver's odd behavior, the officer pulled him.
And you know what's so funny? That was actually one of the other videos that I was about to play, so I just took it off my playlist. But this one really shocked me. All right, let's get into it.
Over to question him about it.
You okay?
Do you have proof of insurance for the vehicle at all? No. Does your window roll down any farther? Can you roll down? Are there any weapons in the vehicle at all? No. Okay. Anything to drink at all tonight? No. Why are you driving so erratic?
I was in a hurry and I saw you cut me off, and the guy in front of me was like, just slow. I was just frustrated, and then that's it.
Lorick was later discovered to have a court order against him from a woman.
Yes, I also wanted to read this. Empress said, "Flo, my daughter's father had a tracker under my car. One of his coworkers followed me home for weeks before the police found the tracker." You know what's so sad, Empress, is that family members, friends, like people they know, are so willing to get involved in this. A lot of times they won't even know the real context, but like to just jump in and start helping your friend stalk somebody, that is crazy. But it's not the craziest thing I've ever seen. So it's really sad that they'll go that far to help.
Woman he was in contact with. There were, however, recent reports of him driving by the woman's home's workplace several times. He was convicted of stalking the woman in 2018 and had a domestic abuse injunction against him. Safe to say, this is not a normal individual.
Do you have a domestic injunction against?
Oh, sorry.
How would you just put your hands on top of your head? Yeah, and I'll pat you down. How about that? Let's just do that.
Yeah. Domestic injunction? Yeah, I do. I got my ex.
Okay.
Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? Did you have contact with her recently at all?
Absolutely not.
No?
No.
I think it was like 5 days ago?
Nope.
No, anything like that?
Nope.
Okay. Why would she call in saying you did have contact with her?
I did not talk to her. Haven't seen her. Nothing at all.
Okay. I don't, like I said, I'm not 100% sure on what the contact was, but
I don't.
We just have in our system flag that she reported that you did have contact with her, so I'm gonna have to read the report and we can talk about it.
Yeah, no, I don't talk to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. When's the last time you had contact with her?
Since before all this crap happened.
What all?
Now, let me just say this, Unknown, you ain't shit. Unknown says, bro's got one eye on the police and one eye on the moon. Yeah, this guy can't, he's not even worried about his vision. He's more worried about stalking this woman, and he thinks he's going to get away with it. But let's continue. I want to hear a little bit more from the beginning of his interaction with them.
I think it was like 5 days ago.
Nope.
No, anything like that?
Nope.
Okay. Why would she call in saying you did have contact with her?
I did not talk to her. Haven't seen her. Nothing at all.
Okay. I don't, like I said, I'm not 100% sure on what the contact was, but
I don't.
We just have in our system flag that she reported that you did have contact with her, so I'm gonna have to read the report and we can talk about it.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't talk to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. When's the last time you had contact with her?
Since before all this crap happened.
What all?
Probate over a year.
Over a year?
Yeah.
Lorick denies any allegations that he was still stalking his ex, but what he says next would tell you the opposite.
Does she live in the Cross?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't really pay attention, I think she still lives in the same thing. I know she's got her little boyfriend. And,
okay.
That's it. I mean, I've moved on past that crap. I don't go anywhere near her.
No. Okay. All right. If that's the case, and there might just be she called in and said something. There's no probable cause to make an arrest. Something. But I gotta verify that before I release you here.
Yeah. No, I didn't. No contact whatsoever.
All right.
Poor guy. He says he's moved on past that, but he says she's got her little boyfriend, clearly showing he hasn't moved on past that at all.
You guys are so silly. Peppy the Chocolate says, I don't believe that. Looks like he's trying to keep at least one eye on her. Yeah. And I don't think what somebody was saying was trying to imply like the reason why he's a stalker is because he got a loose eye. There are plenty of people who got a eye that be looking on its own planet that are not stalkers. So I'm so glad I got uncles and brothers and cousins that don't play about me. Yeah, like, I'm telling you though, people will have all types of family. They could still end up in this situation, right? Some stalkers are really good at what they do, right? They've had so many victims that never even knew about them, right? Stalkers who maybe were in fear, but they never contacted the police, never even told anybody. right? Because sometimes you trick yourself out of believing what's happening to you. That's a big part of it. Biggie don't have a lazy eye. He just has to make sure to keep an eye on Diddy at all times. y'all, y'all need to be put on timeout. You guys are being bad. Let's continue.
Why do you go up there to read?
I don't know, it's just a peaceful spot. I go up to the top to Red Cloud.
Where's Sarah
work at? I don't know. Last time I knew, she worked at a accounting place.
Accounting place?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, J. Johnson Block.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where she works. Other than that, that's where she worked last time I talked to her.
Okay.
Laura claimed to know nothing, but proceeded to tell the officer her address, details about her boyfriend, and much more. But that's not all he admits to.
Pictures of Sarah's car at all? Post them on Facebook?
That picture that I posted, I took that a year ago.
Where was that taken at? Remember, I might know things that I'm just seeing if you're telling the truth.
It was on the kind of by your apartment.
Where's her apartment at? How often do you go read over at that park?
Every other day, sometimes every day.
Okay, why do you choose that park?
I don't know, it's because I like it up there. And there's a sentimental thing because my friend Tony was thrown over the bank right there. Okay. And so.
Why are you posting pictures of Sarah's car?
Why?
Yeah.
It's not her car.
Okay.
It was Reggie Henry's car.
Okay. So why do you keep posting on Facebook that it's stolen?
Reggie basically told me that they stole it from him. I have a message to prove it.
Okay. Is that any
That's what Reggie was told. Reggie told me.
Is it any of your business?
No.
No.
I guess not. But I mean, yeah, I guess not. Probably a poor choice.
Okay.
No.
The park that Lorick frequented is situated close to the woman's place, so he had an excuse about him going there to read. Not long after, Lorick was arrested, and a search of his car revealed a glass pipe and evidence of drugs, and even though he denied it, 0.9 grams of meth was found on him. But that's not.
And you know what's so scary? Like, we just saw in one of the other videos that they talked about the comorbidities, right? Where certain people who are engaging in stalking behaviors are also engaging in a decent amount of substance use, right? Which is sort of clogging their perception of what it is they're doing and the terror that they're causing on people. You know, very, very, very tricky situation. All right, so guys, we're going to be in a storm here. Like, there's more evidence that it's going to be a pretty bad storm. So what I'm going to go do is I have to go out and get some essential items, and I'm going to come back and do a part 2. All right, part 2 is going to be the rest of this video, and then I have 5 more videos on some stalking cases. We're going to talk some more about this, and then I'm going to try it out. I'm going to try out and open the panel. Okay, so make sure you guys hit the like button. Make sure you guys hit notifications and all that. And I'm going to come back to you guys after I get what I need to get, because unfortunately it's going to be snowing all night and into the day supposedly around here. And so I need to get some stuff for that. So I'm going to be back. I'm going to do a part 2 of this stalking. So you guys can hit the like button for me, subscribe, share, and make sure that you guys hit the notification bell. All right. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for viewing my show. Somebody said meth explains it all. Yeah, meth definitely helps with those hallucinations. So I can definitely see that. Shamika says, be safe. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You know, honestly, this storm is probably not going to be much of nothing. But I think that the fact that we don't know with the north sometimes we can get way more snow than we expected, way less, that it's just better to be safe than sorry. So, yeah. Pepe the Jonko says, he says, ain't never stalking nobody on tree. I can tell you that. Ain't never done crack or meth, so I can't give that perspective. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's definitely, it's a lot going on. It's more like they're using drugs to deal with their problems. I definitely think that the drug use can sort of cloud their judgment too. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. Thank you so much for coming and watching the show. I'll be back with a part 2 today. Obviously, there's no school tomorrow, so I won't be working. But also, Donald Trump is being inaugurated. All right, so I will definitely be back for you guys for a part 2 tonight, or today, I should say. It's only 12:51, but I do have a lot on the menu. So if I do come back, it'll be in a few hours. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Be safe and have a good Sunday. Bye-bye.